Hello, my name is Artemis. Welcome back to my channel. What I want to try to do today is to make a mask for a masquerade I'm going to. This design is heavily inspired by Sleep Token as well as Fantomasy. I love their masks so much and one day I'll buy one. Right now don't have the time or the money for that. So my plan for this is to try to use Worbla to create a base shape and then get fabric and decorations on top of that. I don't have much of a plan in place except for cut the Worbla out and go from there. So let's get started. Oh fuck! Alright, first step is to get an approximate measure of how much Worbla I need. I'd rather go, of course, bigger and then cut down. So we'll do that. $14 by $9. Alright, so yesterday I left the mask off looking a little spooky. This is a very trust the process moment though, because when I go in and add fabric, a lot of that weirdness is hidden and it seems to be looking a lot better. So I have spent today working on layering different fabrics to see what effect I want. I know I very much want this lace layer on top, however trying to get a layer that covers the mask well enough but also allows me to see through. Took some trial and error, so I've got 2 layers of mesh, and then just to add a fun effect I've got this to try and get some color shifting. Yeah, it's a little rough looking right now, but hopefully it'll turn out much better. In the spirit of getting carried away, last night when I was experimenting with some of the very first layers, just using lace, obviously this didn't look great shining through. However, it did create a really interesting effect with my eyes where it looked very beady and buggy because they were reflecting. You could see the blink and everything, and it looked super cool. So I am also curious. I went to the thrift store and I got some beads that initially I was just going to potentially hang down from the mask. I have no idea if this is visible. But now I'm curious if, much like the Sleep Token mask and, you know, Trigon from Teen Titans, I can kind of put these under a layer or two and they'll pick up light and reflect and give the illusion of a bunch of different eyes. So today is going to be gluing fabric, which is always terrifying. Doing a little experimenting with the beads, and hopefully finishing up and adding some details. Let's go. I decided to remove the color shifting layer as you couldn't really see the gems against it, which was nerve-wracking, but successful. The front lace was crooked, so I needed to glue it lowered and centered. So I tested E6000 and Elmer's glue, and Elmer's glue actually looked the best. Alright, I can't see shit. Okay, so at this point, I have glued down all the layers and the eyes. I've also gone ahead and glued some chain right in the center here. It's very hard to plan and do this without utilizing video. So at this point, I haven't been filming as much, but I am continuing to work on it. Hot glue was a nightmare. So yeah, I'm hoping to add some chains, add some decoration, maybe add some chains at the top too. Let's see how this looks. I also just realized I have this mannequin head I could have been using this whole time. Exciting. I then proceeded to never use it for this project. At this point, I was just gluing things down, seeing how it looked, and then readjusting as needed. Alright, it is done. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Ultimately, I think it took about 3 days to finish. I can see through it. I can't see details, but I can see well enough to navigate, not run into anyone. Ultimately, I did decide that I wanted the eyes to be the main focus of this, so I got rid of the gemstone I had hanging, as well as the idea of adding anything on top. But please let me know in the comments if you liked the gemstone, if you think it would have been a good addition to this, or if you think that there would have been something else that made this look really good. I did also get rid of the color shifting fabric. When I put it with the eyes, it ended up making the eyes really hard to see and didn't let them stand out. In the end, I'm pretty happy that I got rid of it, but let me know if you liked it better with the color shifting fabric. I ended up using 3 layers of black mesh and 1 layer of the lace overlay. That seemed to give the best balance of being able to see while still hiding the mask pretty well. So I have 2 layers of mesh, then I have the eyes glued on, 1 more layer of mesh, and 1 layer of lace. And like I said earlier, this top layer did get crooked and was hanging way too far up, so I did end up gluing it down with Elmer's glue. It's holding pretty well. It hasn't moved yet. I've worn it a couple times now, so that's pretty cool. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this craft. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.